Your hand moves before you decide to move it. You are not even bored. The phone is already unlocked. But the real answer for why you do this is far stranger than boredom, and it has almost nothing to do with the phone in your hand. Right now, somewhere in your skull, a tiny chemical signal is firing. It is not asking whether the notification matters. It is not asking whether you actually want to see it. It is asking one older question, a question your ancestors asked every single day of their lives. Is there something out there I need to know about? That question kept them alive. Today, it keeps you scrolling. Start with the chemical itself. Dopamine. You have probably heard the word used wrong 1,000 times online, treated like a pleasure switch, something that floods your brain when you get a reward. But that is not quite what dopamine does. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz spent years recording dopamine neurons in the brains of monkeys as they waited for juice rewards. What he found changed how scientists understand desire itself. Dopamine did not spike when the monkeys received the juice. It spiked when they did not know if the juice was coming. Uncertainty was the trigger, not the reward. Read that again. Your brain does not light up for the prize. It lights up for the maybe. This is the part almost nobody explains to you. Your phone is not addictive because it gives you good news. It is addictive because it almost never tells you in advance whether the news will be good. A message could be nothing. It could be something wonderful. It could be something that changes your whole day. You do not know until you look. And that not knowing is exactly what your dopamine system was built to chase. Psychologist B.F. Skinner discovered this pattern decades before smartphones existed. He was studying pigeons, not people. He built a simple box, and inside it, pecking a lever sometimes released food, and sometimes released nothing at all. The schedule was random. What Skinner found was strange and a little unsettling. Pigeons on a random reward schedule pecked far more often and far more compulsively than pigeons who got food every single time. Certainty made the pigeons calm. Uncertainty made them obsessed. You are not a pigeon, but your dopamine system does not know the difference between a lever and a lock screen. Every time you check your phone and find nothing, your brain does not give up. It just tries again. Somewhere deep in that ancient reward circuitry, this time might be different, feels like a reasonable bet. That belief is not weakness. It is architecture. It was built by millions of years of a much older world. So picture that world for a moment. Not office chairs and glowing screens, grasslands, tree lines, long stretches of silence that could turn dangerous in an instant. For most of human history, your ancestors lived as small, tightly knit foraging bands, constantly scanning their surroundings for two things: threats and opportunities. A rustle in tall grass could be wind. It could be a predator. A shift in the herd on the horizon could be nothing. It could be food for the next 3 days. The humans who paused to check, who stayed alert to new information, who never fully relaxed into certainty, were the ones who tended to survive long enough to raise children. The ones who ignored the rustle did not always get a second chance. This is where the story gets even stranger, because checking your surroundings was never just about predators and prey. It was about people. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar has spent much of his career studying why human brains grew so large compared to other primates, and his answer was not tool use, and it was not hunting. It was social tracking. Early humans lived in groups where survival depended on knowing who could be trusted, who had just had a falling out, who was gaining influence, and who was quietly being pushed out. Dunbar's research suggests that gossip itself, the constant low-level tracking of social information, functioned the same way grooming does among other primates. It held the group together. It kept you socially safe. Your brain, in other words, was never built to relax into stillness. It was built to keep checking. The environment, the group, the status of your place inside it. Now hold that ancient wiring up next to your phone. A notification is not a rustle in the grass, but your amygdala does not know that. A message from someone you have not heard from in weeks is not exactly gossip from around a fire, but the pull you feel to check it comes from the exact same place. Every app you use was designed, often deliberately, to mimic the two conditions your brain has been chasing since before agriculture existed: uncertainty and social relevance. Will there be something new? Does it involve me? You are not checking your phone 100 times a day because you are undisciplined. You are checking it because a circuit older than language itself is doing exactly what it evolved to do. It just no longer has a savanna to do it in. It has a screen. Here is the twist that makes this even harder to shake off. In the ancestral world, checking eventually stopped. The grass went quiet. The group settled for the night. There was a natural end to vigilance, a moment where the environment ran out of new information and your nervous system could finally exhale. Your phone has no such moment. There is always one more scroll, one more possible update, one more maybe. The stream of new information is, for the first time in human history, functionally endless. Your ancient alertness system was calibrated for a world with edges. It is now operating in a world with none. This is not a story about willpower. It is a story about mismatch. Your body is not broken. It is simply running very old software inside a very new environment, one built by people who understood Skinner's pigeons and Schultz's monkeys better than most of us understand ourselves. Psychologist John Cacioppo, who spent much of his career studying loneliness, found something worth sitting with here too. Humans do not just seek information, they seek confirmation that they still belong somewhere. A notification does not just promise news. It promises, however faintly, that someone out there is still thinking of you. That old social radar, the one that once tracked alliances around a fire, now searches for that same reassurance in a small rectangle of light. So the next time your hand reaches for your phone before your mind has even caught up, you do not have to feel weak for it. You are not failing at self-control. You are a person carrying a 100,000-year-old alarm system into a room that never stops ringing. Understanding that will not make the pull disappear, but it changes what the pull means. It is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is proof that something in you still remembers the grasslands, still listens for the rustle in the grass, still checks the horizon out of habit, long after the horizon stopped needing to be checked. Your hand is already moving toward the phone again, and this time you notice it.